Greetings to you all. My name is Noluthando Butelezi. I am presenter number 1, presenting what is CSR, which is Corporate Social Responsibility. CSR is the concept of businesses and organizations taking responsibility for their impact on society, environment, beyond their economic activities. CSR include contributing positively to the economy.
Today I'll be talking about the importance of CSR. CSRs are programs that actually help the community. Most of them actually help providing a service that is in need to the less fortunate for the people of the community. So what does CSR do? Most CSRs actually give food parcels away. Others have soup kitchens. Others actually do take kids and they actually raise them on their own with their own will and power. So CSRs are very important in a way that they actually give people of the community hope, and mostly kids, for a better shot at life. So without CSRs, there wouldn't be other kids who were orphans and they actually made it in life. So CSR is not really just a program; it's actually a necessity to have, because they help a lot, especially in the South African communities. Because South African communities, most of them, they actually in a bad conditions, and the services are hardly in good standard. So what they do, they actually give us hope and the kids hope, so that kids can have a better shot at life, and then they also become a necessity for people who are in need. For people who don't have food, they give food parcels. For people who don't have water, they actually bring water. For kids who don't have parents, they are foster homes, thanks to these CSR programs. So without them, a lot of things in our communities would go wrong.
This is speaker number 3. A stakeholder is an individual who has an invested interest in specific organizations, community, or ideas, and the factors that may possibly influence it, whether positively or negatively. Engagement is a process of sending and receiving information, usually for purposes of reaching a certain conclusion or coming up with solutions. Stakeholder engagement can be used to create new ways of thinking, or simply to reflect on processes, past events, or current affairs relating to their common interest that makes the stakeholder a unit. Stakeholder engagement is usually done through planned meetings or communication through different mediums about the particular concerns of all members.
This is speaker number 4. I'm going to be detailing more on the SOS Children's Organization. This program is an independent, non-profit and non-governmental organization. The program does give development and care to homeless and poverty children in South Africa, Africa, and the world. The program is now situated in 153 countries in the world. The program has now raised at least 85,000 children in South Africa. Across the world, it has now become a parent to almost 3.8 million people, 3.8 million children across the world. It became a parent to homeless kids who wanted a bright future for themselves, with vision and dreams to do greater things in future time. The program does become a parent that fulfills the dream to those homeless kids, to those orphans who have no parents, who have nowhere to walk up to. But the program becomes the parent of those kids on the streets, at home, who are now abused, having nowhere to run. This program becomes a home, becomes the mother of all children across the world, in Africa, in South Africa, and the world as a whole, affected by wars, affected by poverty, left by your parents. But this program becomes your parent. Your dreams the dreams of these kids, they are now fulfilled. They are able to walk tall wherever they are walking. They are able to fulfill their dreams because of this program. It does on the society. This program has brought much difference, has brought many differences in individual lives. A lot has been done in this program.
My name is Dolo. I'm going to be discussing the role of the 3 pillars of stakeholder engagement. Dialogue and engagement. Dialogue and engagement refers to the way the organization communicates and involves their stakeholders in making decisions. These conversations can provide mutual respect and understanding between everyone in the organization. In order for a CSR project to be successful, positive communication is necessary at all times. The principle of transparency. Being transparent refers to sharing every little detail about the project at hand. Stakeholders deserve to know what is happening and be able to track the progress of the work that is being done in the organization. Everything must be open and there should be no secrets. Therefore, people can access any information at any time, whenever they need it. Enabling the spaces for engagement. The environment must be neutral so that the stakeholders and the people in the organization can be comfortable to share their ideas and rights. No one must have more advantage than the others. Communication can be two-way as everyone needs to share what they think without feeling intimidated. This is important for the CSR project because meetings need to be held in a venue where everyone can be available to listen and share for the benefit of the project and its success. Thank you.
Furthermore, on the topic of stakeholder, I'll be further discussing the 3 pillars. The first pillar that I'll be discussing is stakeholder engagement. The organization showed stakeholder engagement by allowing stakeholders to participate in donating and being partners or sponsors within the organization. That meant stakeholders would be able to engage with the organization by assisting or donating anything they can towards the initiative, the project as a whole. The second pillar that was a successful PR was transparency. After the investigation that we've done, the research and looking through their social media, their website, we've realized that transparency is a big part of the organization, because when you go through their website, you find that there's detailed information about the organization, such as how many facilities they have, how many children they've supported, how many young children they've assisted and are now doing great outside the organization. So with that information and the transparency, it has installed trust in the stakeholders, which means that will furthermore make stakeholder engagement possible. The last pillar that we looked into, which was likely a failure to the organization, was the engagement spaces. Pillar that we looked into, which was likely a failure to the organization, was the engagement spaces. We realized that the only spaces that the organization used as engagement or communication was the website or emails or phone calls. You couldn't access them through anything else other than that, which is not a good way of communicating, because in the generation of the time we're at, people are now starting to look into using social media platforms as a way to communicate or showcase their opinions or anything like that. So they should consider getting a social media platform. My fellow now.
The 2 feature recommendations for the SOS Children Village. The organization has been linked to corruption, fraud, sexual violence, and abuse in some of its 20 locations since 1990s. Dialogue and engagement as part of the 3 pillars of stakeholder engagement should be implemented to prevent this from happening again. The bottom-up communication approach initiative should be implemented, especially from the children, by taking every complaint seriously and doing thorough investigations. This is because there was a case of sexual violence in 2018 by a whistleblower, which was avoided by the center's top management, according to Africa News. Secondly, corruption and fraud are significant issues in every business existence survival, even when there is zero tolerance for them. However, unethical management of business funds seems to be a problem in the SOS Children Village because the projects are being handed to family members, friends, and through acquaintance, according to Nzimande and Tamini. To prevent this from happening, the organization should do a thorough investigation or a quick research before handing a project to anyone. The organization should confirm that every cent spent by the organization should be legitimate by searching or doing research on the transaction made for a project. Transparency, therefore, should be part of every business operations. Thank you.